What's up, everybody? Rob here. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, Spotify versus YouTube. What is the better platform, and why are so many people so upset by this move that Joe Rogan did? I wanted to make this video about kind of my perspective of it and why I agree that I think that this was a bad decision for Joe Rogan, but it is a interesting thing that capitalism has done, and it opens up many doors and it allows us to look at things from a different perspective here. And I think it's very relevant to the times with social media now, and I wanted to kind of put my 2 cents on this situation. So the first thing I want to say is I think that YouTube is one of the best social media platforms. And I'm not just saying that to kind of kiss up to anybody. The truth is, what I love about YouTube is the ability to downvote. The ability to downvote a video, the ability for your comment to be heard in the comment sections, the ability for people to upvote or downvote your comment. In that way, it allows the people to have control of the video and of the creators in a certain way. A creator can just keep pushing out videos, but if everybody's downvoting on this video, then that video is not going to be seen by the audience because YouTube algorithm is going to pick that up and go, it's probably not that great of a video. There's probably something wrong here. In that sense, the audience gets power just like the creator has power. The creator can create whatever they would like. The audience can do whatever they can, write whatever they want in the comments, and can downvote or upvote. I guess people can delete the comments, but I think that's a bad look on the algorithm for YouTube. I let any comment fly on my channel unless it's like some spam thing, and I think YouTube will pick that up on its own. I think that one aspect is something that is highly overlooked, and I think it's extremely important, and I would love to see that on Instagram. I would love to see that on Facebook. On Facebook, you can do like the sad face or a laughing face or whatever, but it's not the same as downvoting something so that the algorithm legitimately can see, hey, this isn't good content. There's something wrong here. That power is very necessary for a platform because it allows you to be interactive with your community, and it allows the community to put the creator in check. It's very much so a republic in a sense of the social media platforms. Now, I know there's a lot of other speculation going on, but just this specific tool is what I'm talking about. And I think that it would be a very, very big perk to see on Twitter, to see on Instagram, and to see on all the social media platforms so that the user base, it might be a beautiful thing to consider, because we are in an age where we have, the heads of social media on trial pretty much, talking about, okay, what can you and what can't you limit, and what are you shadow banning, all these different things that they're talking about on trials. It's like, this might be the solution. The ability for the audience themselves to say, hey, this guy said something way out of line here, downvote that. And then that gets picked up by the algorithm and drops the video. People unsubscribe. People call these people out. If I have a problem with somebody, I can then make a video about it and then tell you about it, who then can upvote the video if they like that content, or they can downvote it if they don't like it. So that I'm hesitant to call it like a democracy of, but it is kind of like a voting system, but it's not like a 50-50 voting system. It's not like one side can win out over the other. It's just you have a system where each individual viewer has a power, and that power is to upvote or downvote or write a comment on whether they agree or disagree, or to upload their own content to rebuttal against this content, which I do frequently. That's a beautiful thing, and I can't do that on Spotify. I can't do that on Spotify. That's a huge problem. They actually rolled out video only for Joe Rogan. So this was a major, major power move, a significant play by Spotify that I think was brilliant. They brought billions of dollars over to their platform, but at the expense of Joe Rogan's authenticity. I know that I think there was like a speculation saying, you know, I didn't want to be limited by YouTube and I wanted to have my freedom. But I think he's more limited by Spotify than he ever was on YouTube. I mean, let's really be real with each other here on this situation. I think that's kind of padding the blow he's trying to do. Realistically, there were some very controversial figures that went on Joe Rogan's podcast on YouTube. And to go back to the upvote, downvote aspect, if you are a fan of Jordan Peterson like I am, I'm a big fan of his. And by the way, I'm extremely happy to see he's getting out of his shell a bit right now. He's been under some pretty bad health problems, and I watched that podcast he did with William Hoff with his daughter, and I recommend everybody watch that podcast. It was brilliant, and I'm actually looking to start doing that William Hoff method, but that's to the side. But I'm happy to see to see Jordan Peterson out of his shell. But the reason I bring up Jordan Peterson is because when he was first being outed by this Vice interview that he did, this is what brought him to fame. Realistically, the thing that brought Jordan Peterson to fame was this aspect of YouTube, this aspect that the people can go, oh my God, that Kathy Newman interview. If you haven't watched the Kathy Newman interview with Jordan Peterson, they actually thought on that news network that Jordan Peterson lost. So they released the full tape and then got trashed on by the YouTube community, rising Jordan Peterson to fame. That shows you that this news network thought they won. They thought they had an interview where Kathy Newman won this interview with Jordan Peterson. They upload it to YouTube, which isn't their platform. It's the people's platform in a sense. And then the people voted. The people voted and went, no, we believe Jordan Peterson won that argument, debate, whatever you want to call that. And honestly, you should be pretty embarrassed for how terribly that interview went. That's a beautiful thing, and you don't have that on Spotify. So by Joe Rogan making this move to Spotify, it was a money move, it was a power move, and nothing more than that. This was not to own his content. If he wanted to own his content, he would own the website. Point blank. If he wanted to own the content, he would have just made joerogan.com, upload all my videos to joerogan.com. That's the only place to get my videos. But no, he wanted a big money grab. So he went to Spotify. There's no other way to look at it. That's the truth. And people that are making content benefited from this deal because that's capitalism at work. It's showing, hey, they put a valuation on this guy, and they said it was 100 million, but I believe it was a lot more than 100 million. I think that was just the floor. But the reason I think it was such a terrible decision by Joe Rogan is because he was already very wealthy prior to that. He might not have been making 100 million a year or whatever it is what that deal made him from Spotify, but through all of his merchandise and all of the different, he owns Onnit, or he's an owner of Onnit. And so all these different things that he was doing advertising on, he could have made that much money over a process of a few years with YouTube. So by jumping over to Spotify, I was like, oh, I want the big money quick, and so this is like a tortoise versus the hare type situation here. And it's kind of a bummer to see. And quite frankly, I'm not really watching Joe Rogan anymore. As a big fan of his, as somebody that watched every single interview, I watched everything that he would post, and I'd put my earbuds in and walk around the warehouse here cleaning up stuff and packaging stuff, listening to Joe Rogan. I just don't get the same appeal to his podcast that I used to now that he jumped over to Spotify, because it does feel more so like it's controlled versus not being as controlled. I'm sure YouTube, it doesn't want certain things, but when you go to Spotify, it seems different. Something seems off. The other thing I wanted to talk about is look at this set. Look at this set. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling a bit, but I really wanted to talk about this in detail because I think this is a huge step for content makers, content producers, and it is a huge step for the people that watch content and benefit from the content and want their voices to be heard. By going to Spotify, he's basically saying, we don't really care as much about your voice as we used to with YouTube, because you can't comment there. You can't downvote the video there. They don't really have a platform there. The only way that you can do a rebuttal against his videos is by going over to YouTube and posting this video right here that you're watching, that you can upvote or downvote. That's gone with Spotify. And so I think it's a huge thing to talk about because it affects the community in a huge way. Quite frankly, I'm surprised YouTube didn't play hardball a little bit, you know, as in regards to like demonetizing the platform, in regards to, I guess they want the content to be there because it helps in a way, but they have so many content producers. So if you get some A-list celebrity and they're doing an interview with Joe Rogan, who's to say that they don't want to do that interview with Mike Tyson on the Hot Boxing podcast, or they don't want to go to, you know, a different big time podcaster? My prediction is that Joe Rogan loses a huge amount of his audience, and that audience then gravitates to a different podcaster that is somewhat similar. I know you can't say they're the same because everybody's an individual and Joe Rogan is a very unique character, but it just seems to me like a very bad move on all fronts. I know that I'm a pretty tech savvy guy. I'm not going over to Spotify. Like I guess maybe if he put some sort of crazy interview out, it might get me to want to listen to it. But that gets into my next point about his set. Now, if I know anything about watching Joe Rogan from the beginning until now, his set is like very tastefully done. His warehouse is very tastefully done. If you saw behind the scenes, even you'd see Robert Downey Jr. You're like, wow, I love the artwork. And you see like Edward Norton in there, and you're like, oh, man, the artwork here is crazy. I didn't even see that. Like all of that stuff. You see like a picture of Elon Musk holding some samurai sword or standing with that crazy gorilla thing that he has in there, and it's like Joe Rogan is he's got taste. You know, the guy's got taste. What is going on with this podcast set? You're telling me you get $100 million, bro? $100 million and you make a set like you're in the inside of a Traeger grill? What is this? Like you made this set, like when you're designing a logo for your company, or if you're designing a website, you use certain colors on purpose because, let's say, for example, the light behind me, blue light, is kind of a creative, kind of good vibe color, you know? But this is like a pinkish red with like tribal tattoo looking walls. What are you doing? Like, is anybody else noticing this? Like, it is so unaesthetically pleasing. It is so damaging to your eyeballs that it's almost like it's on purpose to make you want to listen to the podcast versus watching it, because they don't really specialize in video on Spotify. So part of me wonders if it's like some weird tactic, because the color red, if you have $100 million budget and you're going to specifically use the color red and patterning walls that actually like make you bothered to watch it in a literal way, there's just no merit to that. I mean, you used to see like a really cool like Jimi Hendrix thing on the wall, or like I'm very big on my art stuff. So I got my Einstein here, I got my Tyson, I got a Jaguar. Like I like my art, you know. I would never ever make a pinkish red set with like Traeger grill walls. Like it doesn't make any sense to me, and it just feels so claustrophobic to watch it. It's just so off. It doesn't make any sense. The only way it does make sense is to force the viewer to get used to listening versus watching. Just a kind of random thought I had on that. I could be completely wrong, but I wanted to make this video to just talk about how much I think YouTube is doing right. And I think that it would have been a better decision to hit the negotiation table with YouTube versus jumping over with Spotify. And that could have happened. That might have happened. YouTube might have played hardball and then Joe Rogan goes over to Spotify. But if I'm going to talk about the two platforms, it's not even a comparison. And that's why I'm jumping on YouTube in such a big way, at least for myself. You know, I built this set myself. I shoot my videos myself. I edit my videos myself. I don't have a team of people. It's just me in my own warehouse in my own set that I built. You know, so for me to jump into YouTube in this way, I hope I show through actions why I like this platform so much. I'm jumping in more on YouTube than I am on Facebook, than I am on Instagram, which, by the way, I did make the Instagram. So if you want to look up Rob Sultan on Instagram, maybe I'll throw a screenshot if you wanted to follow me there. But the thing is about Instagram is you can't downvote my stuff there. If you don't like what I post, you can post a comment that you don't like it, but you can't like downvote it. You can't algorithmically affect that video. What you got to know as a viewer is when you upvote a video, you are helping that content producer be seen by more people. And because YouTube is owned by Google, their analytics software is way ahead of the competition, way ahead. So that if you're the leading search engine and you own YouTube, it's almost like Joe Rogan is biting the hand that fed him, because the reason he has a large audience is because he made videos with titles and SEO work that wanted to be seen by the viewers of YouTube, and they had the largest viewer pool and the largest community to then watch these videos. That's it. It's kind of it's odd that YouTube kind of stands by and lets this happen, in a sense, being so much more of a dominant player than Spotify. It just, I wonder if they already behind the scenes like demonetized the channel or did something to play hardball with Joe Rogan, because it's like, hey man, we put you on. We got you all of your viewers. You came to our platform. We helped push your videos out there on the platform. People would upvote them. People would downvote some of them. Those didn't get pushed out as much, but the ones that got upvoted, we pushed those out for you, Joe. And then we got all these subscribers to you. We brought all these people to your platform. We made you super famous. And then you go and take all of those viewers and want to force them and funnel them into a platform that they don't really like. They can't talk with each other in the comments. They can't downvote. They can't upvote. What are you doing? Oh, well, they offered me a lot of money. I didn't really like the way that they were, limiting some content producers. It was that's not that, to me, I don't think that's a truthful argument. I think that is being dishonest, because if you really, really wanted to be anonymous, if you really didn't want any pull from anyone else on your content, then you would have made your own website that you owned 100% of, like Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro, or, any of those guys that have done that. You would have done that, Joe, but you didn't. You went with Spotify, who then has strings on you. So that you don't have the ability to make that argument. In a way, I'm disappointed, because I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan's. And in a way, I'm just like, why would you were already very wealthy. You were already very wealthy, and the ad revenue mixed with your own product line from On It and all the different things you could have done on your channel with merch or whatever it is, you didn't need to take $100 million deal. You could have easily made that much money with YouTube and kept your community, not forced everybody through a funnel. It's like cheese grating your viewer base. It's like, I don't like it. And I wanted to kind of, with the way that YouTube has been treating me and my ability to reach out to you all, and seeing the potential on this platform, it's like you almost want to stand up for them a little bit, and I know there's another side of things where there's content producers that have been kicked off the platform. There's other things there, and that's obviously, there's a lot to be talked about there. But the one thing that none of us can deny is the ability to have power on both sides, on the creator and the viewer side. And I think that's a very beautiful thing with the platform. And I think that's something that Spotify will never be able to do. They'll never be able to do that. And so my prediction is that you see Joe Rogan's viewer base drop dramatically, and the amount of people that actually come from YouTube to Spotify might be dramatically less than they think. Now, who won at the end of the day? Spotify. Their valuation jumped up billions of dollars by giving away $100 million or so. That was a great power move. It was a great move in capitalism. And it's why I'm a capitalist. I like these types of things happening, because it affects the marketplace, where now YouTube will look at this situation and go, hey, we lost one of our best content producers to Spotify, who isn't nearly the platform that we are. Okay, what are we going to do here about this? And then we see some changes happen. And that's what's a beautiful thing with capitalism. But overall, I think that if you have a YouTube premium account, you can have no ads and you can watch videos or listen to the podcast in your earbuds or whatever it might be, and keep your phone in your pocket. And that's another thing that I didn't know that this happened with YouTube Premium, but before I had a premium account myself, I would like leave the screen on my iPhone and then put it in my pocket and then walk around, and then an ad would play or something. I have to pull out my pocket and then go through the ad and then put it back in my pocket and then put on my earphones and walk around. But with the premium, I can literally turn off YouTube and it plays in the background of the phone, and then I can just put it in my pocket and put on my wireless headset and just walk around and do work. And that's kind of like, if you're watching me right now, you might want to watch the video, which is why I like to make the video on this set, but then you also might want to just listen. So you have that ability to just put your phone in your pocket and listen. But with Spotify, they're saying they have the video thing there, but it's just not the same. It's not the same. You don't have the same community that YouTube has. And the ability, this is the last point I want to make on it. Again, sorry if I rant a little bit. It's just kind of my style. I just kind of like to just talk off the cusp. I don't do any editing. That's why I even put that little hourglass right there, so you can know that I didn't edit any of my videos. The last point I wanted to make with the YouTube versus Spotify situation is the ability to reach out to more people. So because YouTube is owned by Google, when you post a video that is a sought for title, like I've been making some platinum videos lately. So if you looked up how to invest in platinum, you would see my video where I'd use a rebuttal against Mike Maloney's argument with platinum and why I'm bullish on platinum. You would see that video by just looking that up on Google or on YouTube. It would pop up. You're not going to get that with Spotify. You're not going to, for Joe Rogan, the reason it was such a bad decision is the growth rate. It's like it's capping the growth rate. You're hoping that more users start using Spotify, which I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't see that becoming a premium platform for anything but music. You know, music is a great thing there. And now they're jumping in the podcast arena and they're trying to get in the video arena, but YouTube is dominant. YouTube is dominant. And I just don't see anything proprietary coming from Spotify to take a dominant player like YouTube off the top position, other than, you know, taking some of the top content producers. But because of that, and because YouTube is so dominant, maybe they made the right decision playing hardball and letting Joe Rogan leave. Maybe that was the right decision, because Joe Rogan might just come crawling back to YouTube. He might, because the ability to reach out to more people, so on Spotify's platform, is not there. People, you can't just search. It's not like a search engine like it is YouTube. YouTube is a search engine that allows you to be seen by more people. I'm sure subscribers to my channel, you might have, and I'm sure more than half of you watching this video right now might have looked it up on YouTube, and then boom, now you met me for the first time. Hi, I'm Robert Sultan. Nice to meet you. You know, it's because of the ability for this platform to push your video out to people that never have met you yet, have never watched you, have never been in your community yet. And then that could in turn into a subscriber by going, hey, I kind of like this guy's content. You know, I kind of like this person's content. I'm going to subscribe to him. You know, that is something that YouTube has that is significant, extremely significant. So all of those factors together, the ability that the viewer has power on this platform, the ability that the viewer can make their own video to rebuttal against someone's video on this platform, and the ability that this platform is going to help you organically reach more audience, is why YouTube is so much dramatically better than Spotify. And by the way, they have YouTube Music and they have YouTube Movies, and they like all of these things. Is such a beautiful platform, YouTube. So if anything, I think that YouTube can use this situation as an opportunity to go, okay, how do we make sure that our content producers don't get taken from us ever again? And what can we do different in this situation? You know, that's capitalism at work, and that's a beautiful thing. But all in all, to summarize it, I think it was a terrible decision by Joe Rogan, and I think he's going to lose a lot of his viewers and the potential to reach out organically to new viewers based on it not being a search engine like YouTube. That's the video. That's all the points that I wanted to talk about. It might have been a little bit of a long one. Sorry, I was talking for 25 minutes. If you watch this one all the way through, really appreciate you. If you want to hit that like button, or if you want to hit the dislike button, because you have that power on this platform to do that. And it's really true. It's really true if you think about it. But I would really appreciate it if you decided to smash that like button. It really does help this video reach out to more people. When you downvote videos, it makes it reach out to less people. So if you don't like content, you downvote it, and that video won't be seen by as many people as it would if you upvote the video. And you have that power as a viewer. And I wish that more social media platforms did something along those lines, because it really is essential in my opinion. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, would love to have you as a subscriber as well. That'll do it. Thank you so much again for watching. Signing out.